You're listening to Edging the Truth.
Hello, Governor. Welcome to episode 43 of Edging the Truth. Today we're talking about the Royals, mate. We're going to be talking about the Royals. Hello, welcome to Edging the Truth. This is episode
the Kansas City
43.
Royals?
Yeah, big time KC pod today.
We're talking about the Royals, bruv. We're talking about the Kansas City Royals.
We're talking about Greinke. We're talking about Perez. We're talking about Merrifield. What are they going to do in the outfield, folks? I don't know. No, we are talking about a little conspiracy theory involving the British royal family. Please excuse my terrible accent there. I wouldn't blame you. You probably didn't even make it through that. So nobody's watching, boys.
I thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah, I almost didn't make it through that.
Right?
Nobody made it through. So nobody's watching, so we can say whatever we want. But welcome to Edging the Truth. I'm Fudge. I'm joined by Brian and Red. Boys, what's your experience with the royal family? We big royal family heads here. You guys pay attention to that shit at all, Red?
I mean, no. I mean, it was a big. Again, I was born in the early '70s, so when Princess Diana married Prince Charles, it was a big deal. It was all over the news. It was, it was a Kennedy kind of story for my generation, if you will. And then, obviously, her death and all of the stuff related to the divorce, that was big news. But no, like, I could care less.
Brian, well, you got a couple royal family foam fingers back there somewhere, don't you?
Actually, I do have some royalty back here. I have Aryan, who's the king of cannabis. That guy's won a lot of cannabis cups in the Amsterdam days. Runs, I believe it's called the Greenhouse there in Amsterdam. It's a nice coffee shop. Aryan's Ultra Haze, Super Silver Haze, all the classic strains. But as for English royalty, I'm not an English castles guy. I'm a castles guy, not an English castles guy. I'm not a UK thing. As a comic I know that opens for us, Parker Tighe says about the Queen, I thought we didn't like her. There's 1,776 reasons we don't like the UK people in the royal family. I mean, it's like we escaped from that. It's a tabloid thing and all that stuff at this point, but still, I'm not down with the monarchy. I've never been down with the monarchy. I do enjoy a Disney princess, but that's the whole different thing.
Prince Charming,
but no Disney princess.
That.
I don't know any Disney. I don't like any Disney princes. So yes, princesses, yes, but real life princesses, no, I'm out. Even that chick that was on Suits, I'm out.
Oh, so you're not listening to what is it, Harry and Meghan? You're not listening to their podcast?
Do they have a podcast?
I think they got a bag from Spotify, and it came out that they were, she was having her producer fucking ask the questions and like record like the actual interviews, and then she was just recording herself asking the questions.
Wow.
So there's been that whole and then they got a big TV deal, and there was their whole thing where they left and came over here, and then I remember it being a big deal and being on TV when when they got married, and then when his brother got married too, because the sister was hot, I think, and then he cheated, and the bald guy cheated on his wife, and you couldn't believe it because you're like, dude, you're bald and ugly, but he is a member of the royal family. But anyway, we're not talking about them. We are talking about their father today. There's a lot of conspiracy theories involving the royal family that, they're aliens.
Lizard people, I think.
They're lizard. Yeah, they're lizard people.
Which already debunked by us.
But what about a vampire being thrown into the mix, boys? So what if I told you that King Charles, current king of England, is actually a vampire?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has all the earmarks of looking like one. And I will say, I had a lot of fun using some of our AI art generation techniques to make a vampire-looking King Charles III. It was real fun and not a stretch of the imagination in any way.
Yeah, I didn't have to work at all. It was just like, oh, fangs, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Pasties.
this is pasty for sure. Very pointy nose, points right at you. So this is a theory that Red, you and I were kind of talking about, that we've seen a wide range of timelines on this. Like you said, one of the videos was as far as 11 years ago, 10 years ago. Saw one from 3 years ago. There's some from within this year. So it kind of goes back a little bit, but basically the meat of this story here is, I'm sorry, I got screaming kids out there.
Would you say the blood of this story, perhaps?
Yeah, the blood of this story is that King Charles can trace his ancestry back to Vlad the Impaler, who was the basis for Dracula, which was written by Bram Stoker, I believe in 1897. I don't know, Red, you were probably alive. You could tell me.
Sure.
And he has confirmed this. So he's like, Vlad the Impaler was like his great
16th great grandfather or something.
Grandfather.
Like that.
He's related through his great grandmother. He owns property in Transylvania in Romania. He's appeared in ads for the Romanian tourism department, joking that it's Transylvania's in his blood. He does suffer from a disease that runs in the royal family called prophysia, which makes your skin very sensitive to sunlight. Scunlight, yeah. You little scunny boy. Very sensitive to sunlight, i.e. vampires. He's got, they say his nose is very pointed and directed right at you, which is supposedly a feature of Dracula as well. I don't know, super fun one. Like you said, it doesn't look like too much of a stretch. Like you look at the guy's puffy old white dude, weird hands. I mean,
like a carny.
Mm-hmm. He's got carny hands.
Carny hands. Like I spoke, you know.
I mean,
After adding this information to this, does this make this anything more than just a fun bullshit?
Let me jump in here. Just start. First of all,
dive
Jesus. In. All right, like first of all, yeah. You know, like the guy who was Dracula was a Transylvanian noble. You know, all those nobles did nothing but fuck each other that whole time, and that's all they associated with and banged was nobles. These folk is so inbred. That's why this guy has all these problems. They have a chromosome off after all these years of royalty and stuff. So yeah, of course, 16 generations ago, somebody banged some Transylvanian lord. You know, like it'd be like that. But
up until the last century, it was like that.
Look, but if you look at the oldest thing we saw was 11 years old. Like, what did he just do an Ancestry.com and everybody's like, oh, Transylvanian. But
no, like, he came out. He is the one that made this information available
because he's fucking cashing in on it as a promotional thing. And if you look at back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like I said, even though he's a royal family, he was still on a budget, and he goes out and endorses all kind of shit and makes money. That's what they do. But like, this is the crux of this whole thing. Have you ever heard this guy talk? Like, like when he was like, because they had that video of him doing all this, like when he was getting coordinated and how long it was taking, and he was being a little whiny bitch. All right, and I don't know no whiny bitch fan. You don't suck the blood of the living and be a little whiny bitch about putting a crown on. Like,
he's the king.
Right.
When else in life do you get to be a whiny bitch if you're not when you're a king?
All right, you're not wrong, but
if your name's Josh.
Inside baseball.
He'll never hear that.
Yeah, no. I'll have to clip. We'll have to clip it and send it to him for him to actually, him to actually see it. So it doesn't matter. Red, I don't know. What do you think? So like you said, he came out and said it. He did a ancestry. Yeah. He didn't do it Ancestry.com. Like he did a 23andMe. But he was able to trace back his roots. He said that there was a. Red, like you were saying, there was a interview for Dracula where who was it?
Yeah, Luke Evans. They're like, Luke Evans broke the news that because he apparently brought it up in one of the conversations that with a press person and said, "Oh, I was talking with Prince Charles and he volunteered this information to me." Clearly not the revelation that the news people in the story we were, it was already old news at that point. But maybe not to everyone. I think we have to remember too that he's now the king, and so everything that has ever been printed about this guy probably has been gone back over the last year and a half, 2 years, however long it's been since he became king. But hey, just because you're related to somebody a couple of 100 years ago doesn't mean anything. I'm related to 3 Marriotts that conquered England with William the Conqueror. It doesn't look like it had much of an effect on my life.
Well, yeah, you've conquered that bone you got over there, my friend.
Yeah, that's about it. But I do. I mean, I'm a genealogy junkie. I love that. I've always been into that. I have certain, pieces of my family tree I can trace all the way back to the beginnings of America, and some go back just 100 years. And you guys know, I took a trip a year ago when I came to visit you, Fudge, and visited where my family. One part of my family is all from here in the United States, in a graveyard full of their graves, and. So I dig the angle of it, but I think it hey, if you're related to Vlad the Impaler, regardless of whether you're king or not, I'd be telling people about it. The problem is, how do you make the jump from that to the King of England is a vampire?
I think just because of the folklore regarding the area. And then,
I get it, but can't vampires have children? And aren't they supposedly dead? So can they procreate? So would he have been a vampire after the genes were passed on or before?
Have you ever watched Twilight? They just gotta bite you, and then you're a vampire. Well, and then Edward did get Bella pregnant, and they had a child. I believe her name was
we did an episode on vampires.
Stop pulling out canon on us, right?
You do know, yes.
We all know that happened, all right? Fudge, we get it. They're sparkly vampires.
Excuse me.
Wanted to marry the werewolf. I get it. All right, here we go.
Carson said he saw a werewolf out the window today. I didn't see it though.
Oh, well, it's getting close to Halloween. Maybe he saw somebody's decorations, or
I don't know. But I'm playing devil's advocate here because I just think this is a funny thing. Are you guys out on vampires totally, or just that?
All right. So I need to I gotta ask. I have follow-up questions. All right, I mean, what is the age of this vampire? Did he become a vampire somewhere along this line? Has he been a vampire the whole time?
That's a good question.
So does he go back all 16 centuries that he is that same grandfather? And moreover, you've seen him age, right?
Well, yes. You just answered your own question. His whole life has been documented. I wouldn't
choose to be an undead, live forever and look like fucking. I mean, that's the whole point of this story. He looks like a vampire. My old vampire. Why would I want to be an old vampire looking ass if I could have been kind of young and balding forever? And so then he does have kids. Are them kids vampires?
I guess that would be the.
Kidpires?
So maybe Queen Elizabeth.
Does that mean that
Meghan Markle is fucking a vampire?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is it really spread? Is this cabal spread further than we thought? Is it a secret invasion style thing with vampires, where they're just invading our pop culture and movie people and starting podcasts that nobody watches?
I guess that.
Wait, are you
that's
saying we're vampires?
Yeah. 100%. Red, you're pale enough to be one. For sure.
I mean, so are we changing this to which one of the 3 of us in this episode is a vampire?
We already answered that. We answered that in the vampire episode. It's definitely me.
You know what's funny?
It's definitely me.
Have you ever watched What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know the energy vampire?
Yes.
Red looks just like him. Like we
I
put
know, it's sad.
we put red in a cardigan, and and you passed for that actor that plays the energy vampire.
I mean, look, the problem with all this is, and if we're gonna go back to the original text and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and that's still the Bible of all this stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, then, when you drink the blood, it's supposed to make you younger, right? Like this is very well portrayed in Francis
Maybe he
Ford
drank too
Coppola's
much.
version. That you get younger, it makes you more youthful. And in the book, you know, he is not this. When he first appears, he's gray. He looks like an old man. He does not look powerful. He's supposed to be frail. And as time goes on, he becomes more powerful because he's feeding. So the assumption is he looks old because he's not feeding.
Maybe,
or at least not
maybe
feeding
that's
regularly.
the answer. That
Right.
he's a vampire, but he's not regularly feeding. He's I guess acquired a taste for regular food.
I mean, have you
so
seen
does
his
this
belly?
mean-
He's feeding.
Does this mean that Princess Diana was killed because she found out the truth?
Vampire hunters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I
Princess
mean-
Diana, vampire hunter. Let's write that, boys. The strike's over.
I mean, I will say, Abraham
mean
Lincoln
that-
Vampire Hunter is one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch that every weekend and never be tired of it.
But does that mean the queen was also a vampire?
Well, by your logic earlier, Brian,
Well-
that is a good question. Is it
Yes.
is it the same fucking dude? Like is Vlad the Impaler King Charles right now, or it would imply that either Queen Elizabeth or her husband one of them was a vampire, and so on and so forth, just going down the line. But
Well, let's. I have a way this could work. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, that when you become a
Should do
vampire,
that to us right there.
yeah, when you become
We
a
should touch
vampire,
tips.
we like to talk
We're
with
not-
our hands in around
not
here. You
docking.
know this. So for example, Queen Elizabeth gets pregnant with her son,
Uh-huh.
and then is turned into a vampire by whatever the generation is older. So she has her child, who's not a vampire. She's a human being, born a human being, has a human being child,
yeah,
then
Daywalker
becomes a
Blade,
vampire.
We get it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right?
Okay.
And then this could then step down each generation. So then Prince Charles has his children with Diana before he's turned into a vampire by his mother. Once the kids are born, okay, it's time for you to become a vampire. Now we make you a vampire, and now he's a vampire. At some point, Meghan Markle and the princes and what's the other one's name? Kate Middleton, they'll have all the royal babies, and then their generation will become vampires, and they can just keep propagating, but they can keep having regular babies, right? This keeps the
So what? Then
generations
at some
coming.
point, the vampires they just disappear? They go into the catacombs forever to watch Netflix?
maybe.
Like, where do they go?
I mean, we were
they
told
drink some blood and
Queen
they get
Elizabeth
younger again?
died.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are we going to a deeper conspiracy of vampire
I mean-
queens and royals? That there's just some underground vampire? Then that's the new world order of underground vampires?
Somebody needs to write that novel, dude. Somebody needs to write that. There's like a nice new vampire thing of like, hey, every major world European leader was a vampire. And somewhere in a bunker of coffins is Stalin and Karl Marx and Hitler and on down the
And
line.
Queen Elizabeth and Pol Pot.
Yeah, or maybe they all
and
ganged
Chairman
up and
Mao.
just decided we don't want Hitler. We're just going to kill him. Yeah, we're going to kill him. We're going to kill.
And somewhere in there, the original Vlad Tepes Dracula, like OG, like
Yeah,
16
he's got the
generations
throne
ago.
down there.
Just sitting
he's,
there
yeah,
dong
he's
out.
chilling on the throne.
just dong out, vampiring.
But he's like, oh yeah. Okay, so who can we get in America? You know, oh, Kennedy's probably down there, right? I mean, that would explain the whole Kennedy.
I mean,
deal.
headshots are still fatal to vampires. No, I guess you need the stake to the garlic. I don't know.
Silver bullet.
I don't know.
Oh, that's werewolves.
Yes, they won't slow you down. The silver bullet. That's that Coors Light. I don't know. It's.
But anyway, that was a long
yeah.
tangent. But I could believe it. In the hands of a good storyteller, you could convince me. You could convince me that there's some way this works.
we could put out a serial of these. I mean, it's something. It's something, bruv.
Who else in politics or celebrity or who else could you see being a vampire?
Michael
Ronald
Jackson.
Reagan. Both. Yep. Michael Jackson, Ronald Reagan. Definitely.
That's-
Ronald Reagan for sure, vampire. He looked like a vampire, too.
I mean, yeah, Tom Waits for sure, vampire.
I'm going to say Jimmy Carter, vampire, because he's still holding on. He's just alive.
It's crazy.
Like he's truly undead.
Al Pacino,
Yes.
he's like fucking 90 years old and he's pumping out kids. There's got to be something weird to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Demon
Dick Clark.
Seed.
Dick Clark, while he was around, I think he's probably running the walk
Alan
around the
Thicke,
clock.
also vampire. America's Dad. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about lady vampires? Dolly Parton.
Betty White. I could see Betty White being a lady vampire.
Yeah. That's a good one.
The patriarchy
Salma
is winning,
Hayek.
fellas.
Salma Hayek.
She's still
She was
alive,
one of the
right?
sexiest. Yeah, but that
Yeah.
movie where she is a vampire is
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
sexiest vampire of all
All
time.
right.
Period.
I'll give you
So-
that. I'll give you that. Sexy vampires.
Sexy vampires.
What's her name? Queen Desdemona
Rue
or
McClanahan.
something like that.
Yeah, Rue McClanahan.
Rue McClanahan.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah, just
probably
the-
a vampire.
The entire
Yeah,
cast
Katharine
of Golden
Hepburn.
Girls, they're all vampires.
The whole, all of them.
Somewhere
Estelle
out there,
Getty.
there's a Golden Girls. There's a Golden Girls party happening. It's a vampire party, but they're just
I know it.
It's a lemon party.
It's gross. We don't.
Don't
need to bring
Google
it-
that.
Yeah, that's. I remember. I remember when I was
Some dude
14.
did a joke the other day about it. It was this whole 3 minutes on a lemon party. I'm like, wow, you have too much information on this, sir.
Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me what a lemon party is.
Reg.
Oh no. Do we
Let's-
want to explain that on the podcast?
No. You go ahead and Google that shit.
Is
on
it
your
that?
Own time,
Is
Reg.
it that not appropriate for the show? Okay,
Yes.
Google it, everyone.
Where our title is already close enough to the edge, we don't know what to need to go over.
Yeah, we take you to the edge, not all the way.
Not to completion.
Well,
I mean, Andy, do you buy into any of this?
no, I think it's just fun. I think it's just something funny
It's a super fun one.
to talk about. There's certain things where you're just like, oh, okay, like I guess that kind of makes sense, and that and it helps that he's leaning into it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Maybe I might believe it more if he just completely denied it, and like never wanted to talk about it. That almost makes it more like, okay, he's definitely hiding something. But I don't know. I just think it's fun. I thought when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's not one I had heard before. So I was like, yeah, I think this will be one to throw out and see what the guys think about it. But I think that I don't know. I don't think he's a vampire. And the funniest part is because there's so many different conspiracy theories about the royal family, like that Queen Elizabeth was a fucking alien lizard person, and then now how is her son a vampire too? So we just have like a very mythical mix of creatures that are apparently have been ruling in the UK for quite a while, governor.
Yep.
I really,
Also,
really, this was just my excuse to use my hacky, awful British accent on the show.
And mythical mix, my favorite kind of trail mix. It is my favorite kind.
Mythical
It's one of the
mix.
names of
Is that actually
Well-
a really is that a flavor?
From Edging the Truth, mythical mix. Get it in the
Yeah.
store.
Well, I should mention we are recording this on Friday the 13th, and isn't the original origins of Friday the 13th connected to the Templars and therefore the King of England?
It's all connected, baby.
Mhm.
Said we did that on purpose.
And also, we should mention we are 1 week away from 2 years of this podcast existing as a thing. So we'll be sure to stay tuned and listen to that episode if you haven't heard some of our stuff in the past. We did a full episode on vampires as a thing, and we did some deep diving, as I recall. So that would be a great, if you have not checked out, if this is your first time listening to us, go back and check that out. We'll put a link up in the corner somewhere. So that
Put
you
it
can
in the
just make that easy.
description or whatever.
Yeah.
Make it super easy. But any closing thoughts, boys? I think we're all on the same page here. I don't believe King Charles is a vampire. Very fun conspiracy theory to talk about. Very funny looking guy, but puffy, pale fuck with carny hands. That was underrated.
We were trying to
Carny hands.
debunk this. I was on board. I think he is a vampire. I thought that's what we said. Didn't we agree on that?
Now I'm confused. Brian's eyes are almost closed. I think he hasn't had any idea what we've been talking about this entire time.
No.
You know, I mean, if Brian's in, then I'm in. I just need somebody else to say yes.
See?
That was way too easy.
I'll believe that guy's a vampire.
Yeah.
There. Hot takes.
Hot
on this
takes.
No.
Controversial
No.
subject.
No, they're gonna have an open casket. He's gonna be paraded through the streets of London in a few years.
Yeah,
That-
Lizzie
no.
won't be the only one in a box. Am I right, fellas? Hey, okay. Vampires, I think we're real good, but this guy, who knows? Go back and listen to our
Definitely
original.
related.
Yeah,
He's not sparkly at all.
they're connected. He's confirmed connected. Owns property in Transylvania. It's all some timeshare scheme to try to get people to vacation
Charles-
there. Yeah,
Some Charles condos.
and then he's getting
Just come to
fucking scratched, and
Transylvania
then he's got
for
a fucking
4-hour
big piece
fucking
of
presentation.
and that's part of the presentation is the King Charles will make an appearance, and it's just like a video or fucking recording
Yep.
of him.
Yep.
Or
Just
I'd
like
like
Trump
to
would
think
do.
the salesman just has to keep stalling. Oh no, he's on his way. He'll be here.
He's
as
gonna
they
be
keep-
here, you guys.
Yeah.
Let me just tell
You
you about
guys,
our
this
interest
is-
rates. on
this is how he-
thing.
This is how he gets victims. They stay in his condos. He goes in the middle of the night, feeds on their blood. It's a win-win.
I mean, people do a lot for a free weekend in Vegas or Disneyland. I mean, that's what them timeshares give you.
What if he's a Benjamin Button vampire? So the blood actually makes him look like shit. That's why he looks like that and all bloated
I love
and everything.
the idea. You know, we talk.
That's why he looks so
there are,
shitty.
Yeah.
There
Why
are
didn't you put that in the first
thousands.
place? Now I believe it even more.
Yeah.
because that
I-
man looks
well, I just
fucked up.
thought- I just thought of
believe
it.
he's drained the blood of a
No,
lot
I
of
think
people.
you're onto something here, man. Like, look, the reality is there's thousands of different things that can be wrong with how your body works if you're a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have messed up vision, you can have messed up intestines and lungs, and any one of your organs can be fucked up, and it can change, from the ideal situation. Why can't there be vampires that are imperfect? Why can't there be vampires who can't drink human blood for some reason because they're allergic to it?
Then are they really a vampire?
And my
at
name's
all?
David Marriott, and I'm
yeah.
running for governor.
I'm gonna keep the streets of
I'm
Seattle
just saying,
safe from these
like,
vampires.
I kind of feel like there's another literary angle that somebody could dive down, right? Like, okay,
Why
they
not
can
us, Red?
only. What about a vampire that could only drink the children's blood?
Creepy.
Creepy, right?
This has
That-
been
they
edging.
call
That'd
those-
be really fucked
cutting you
up.
off at that. Yeah.
They call those Democrats. Apparently, under pizza places they do that. That's what that wasn't that vampire pedophile
Or
ring?
just
That was what
or
that
just
was?
cats, or just cats.
Yeah, they can
The
only do
musical?
animals and shit. I think that's
The
enough.
blood
on
of
this.
virgins,
But
just the blood of virgins.
Red, you
Virgin
need to just
cats?
write a fucking vampire novel or script or something, and we'll go
Yeah.
from there. You're
No,
you're
just-
torqued up on
Mhm.
this. I love it.
Yeah, you created some NPCs today.
But
Like-
I'm sorry I waited till the very end of the show to bring that up and think of that when I was fucking stumbling through earlier. I really wish I could have popped that into my mind, but now I'm all the way back in. Yeah, he is a vampire that the blood just makes him look shitty and bloated and have inflated
And
carny
and
hands.
carny hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
God damn it. All right, this has
Like
been
Mickey Mouse
episode
with gloves on.
43 of Edging the Truth. Before you go, please, if you've made it this far, follow us on all of our social medias. We're at Edging the Truth everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. www.edgingthetruth.com for all of our episodes, including merch. And call our voicemail line. Do you have a strange encounter, a wild theory, a silly comment? Call Edging the Truth. Leave us a message today. What do you think about vampires? Do you know a vampire? Are you a vampire? Do you like sucking blood? What are your thoughts on Twilight? 917-979-6071. Remember that off the top of my head, but thank you for the help there, Red. I always get squirrely there with the last 4 numbers. Merch. We have merch as well. That's the best way to support the show. Please, if you like what you saw, if you hated what you saw, I don't care, buy a t-shirt. We've got t-shirts, we've got hats, we've got mouse pads, a bunch of different shit. Go check it out in the store, all designed by Mr. Red Rasmus, our good little boy, our energy vampire. Anyway, Edging the Truth, episode 43. I'm Fudge. That's Brian. That's Red. We're outskis, baby.
We're ready to believe you.
Mm-hmm. Gold save the queen.
Kansas City Royals.
Kansas City Royals, baby.
Visit edgingthetruth.com for more information and links to all our social media and podcast directories.